everyone, welcome back to my channel.
It's about a special type of girl. We call her Karlee still.
So today's video is definitely going to be, I was going to say it's going to be a little different, but it's not going to be different because honestly my past videos this whole month have definitely been emotional and raw and real, and that's definitely what this video is going to be. My cat's right there, so if she distracts you, I'm sorry. But yeah, so this video is definitely going to be real and raw, and just like my past videos I have been doing this month, and that's because I really want to bring you guys on this journey with me because I feel like it could definitely help a lot of you guys out, and that's what I'm here for. And I just want to explain to you guys why I'm making the changes I'm making, and so if you guys see my changes you guys will have a better understanding. I also wanted to make this video because I wanted to show you guys how amazing God can be, and if you're not religious or anything, I still want you guys to watch this, and you don't have to take it in a religious way, but I do want you guys to be open-minded and maybe open up your hearts a little bit, and hopefully this can maybe show you guys that God is real and that there's really no other explanation for all of these things that have happened to me other than God. And if you don't believe in God, I hope this video can make you think again, or maybe open your mind a little bit. Other than that, I really just wanted to share you guys, I just wanted to share this with you so that if you guys are going through anything and you guys don't quite understand it at that moment, that you will eventually understand it. And I'm only 20 and I probably have a lot of things ahead of me in life, but I feel like these past 4 years of my life, I don't know why I'm gonna start crying. I literally didn't want to start crying in this video. I didn't think I was. But these past 4 years of my life have been absolutely insane, and when I say that there's nothing but God that brought all these things to me, is I'm being 100% honest. The things that I'm going to talk to you guys about in this video is going to be so amazing, and all these little things add up, and all of the problems that I've been through and all of the little tiny details when I look back now just add up, and it's just so amazing, and I want to talk to you guys about that. And I'm not gonna cry, so let's get back, let's be a baddie again, and let's not cry. So, enough of the tears, enough of the emotions. I'm gonna tell you guys my story and why I am changing the way, I'm not changing me, but I'm changing the way that I view things and I look at life, and I really want to help you guys out with this. And yeah, so the Love That For Me merch, I will talk to you guys about that at the end. For right now, I really want you guys to sit back, have a snack, put in some headphones, lay down, relax, listen to this story. When you're done listening to this, I really want you guys to think about your own life. And I know this isn't like a trending video or a video that is even remotely entertaining. I want this video to be more of a open-minded thing that makes you think about things and help you out. So yeah, that's what I want this video to be. In order for me to start this whole thing, I have to start with the beginning of my social media career and where I'm at now. So I'm going to talk about how this whole thing started, and trust me, it's not going to be boring. You're going to be like, whoa. Like, I'm going to point out little things and you're going to be like, whoa, and I'm going to be like, whoa. Honestly guys, some things in life you just can't understand, and some things in life are so crazy that there literally is nothing but God. So we're going to go back to the beginning of my, basically, I want to say my career. We're going to go back because I feel like that's when this whole thing started. So I was raised non-religious, not Christian. I never had to go to church. My grandma did a little bit. She brought me sometimes, but I mostly just went. I was like really young. I didn't really understand what I was doing. I just went to go to the Sunday school and eat food. That's all I went. And like when I went to Sunday school, I didn't even know what they were talking about. I was just coloring books and I was just eating food. So I don't really understand. I really didn't understand what I was doing. So when I got older, I kind of just never went to church again. My mom was not raised Christian or anything, so none of my family really was. My dad wasn't either, so it was just kind of like a taboo subject. Like, nobody really talked about it, and it wasn't really a thing. So as I got older, when I was 16 years old, my mom remarried, and she married into a Christian family. And at the time, I had a boyfriend, and I was 16, and my mom married into a Christian family, and at first, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was really mad at my mom. I was angry because she was changing the way that she was for 16 years of my life. She was changing the way that she talked to me. She was changing the rules in the house. She was making me go to church on Sundays, and like everything was changing, and it changed pretty fast, and it made me feel so weird because I was like, Mom, I'm 16 years old. You raised me one way. Now that I'm like accustomed to how you raised me. Now you're making me go to church and you're changing the way you talk, and now I can't cuss in the house. And like, I was so confused, you know? And I was angry. I was like, why are you being like this? Like, why are you changing? I never understood it at the time. I understand it now. And Mom, I'm so sorry for being a brat, and I'm sorry that I didn't understand it then, but I definitely understand it now. But yeah, so at the time, 16-year-old me was angry, and I was like, why are you changing the way that I was raised, Mom? Like, I'm 16. It's too late. I was basically saying, Mom, it's too late for me to have a new stepfather. It's too late for me to go to church, and it's too late for you to change your ways. That was my way of thinking. I was just angry and confused, and I was like, what the heck is happening? Like, Mom, like, what the heck is happening? My whole family was changing. I had a whole side of the family I all of a sudden never had, and they all were Christian, and I never understood it, and I was just like, what the heck is happening? So I was really frustrated, really confused for a while. But eventually my mom was like, you're coming to church with me. So I went to church, and me and my friend Olivia really got into youth group, and I really started to open up my heart to God, and I really started to trust him, and me and my friend Olivia actually got saved together, and I was really happy and all that stuff. And it was just like a whole group of like really fun people, and I looked forward every Thursday to go to youth group, and I looked forward to Sunday, and it was just really fun and really awesome, and I was just like having a blast. And my boyfriend broke up with me that I had, and he broke up with me, and I actually brought his mom to my church when we were dating, and his mom was always into church, and I introduced her to my church, and she ended up actually leaving the church that she was at for I think like 20 years and going to my church and helping the kids and just being a part of my church, which is so crazy. So she still goes to my church to this day, and so does his sisters. So it's really cool that that happened that way. And then my boyfriend actually ended up breaking up with me while all that was happening, and that is what really broke my heart. I was like, oh my gosh, you're breaking up with me, what the heck? I was like freaking out. I was like, I'm gonna be alone. If you guys know me, I hated being alone. I was like, who's gonna give me attention? Who's gonna love me? Who's gonna be there for me? I really was heartbroken. And now that I look back at it, I was definitely a little dramatic, and it wasn't even that serious, Karlee. But in my head, it was like this huge, like he was kind of like my first love, like first relationship that like I was really like into, and I got along with his parents, and I brought his mom and his sisters to church. Like, it was a really huge like deal for me when he broke up with me, and it was hard, and I definitely was going crazy. And one day, me and my friend Olivia were sitting on my bed. She came over, and she was like, this is gonna be so weird because you guys probably know who this guy is, and he definitely knows who I am. We hang out now. He's a friend, and if he's gonna watch this video. Well, he's not gonna watch it, but he might. And if he does, he's gonna think I'm so crazy. And he doesn't even know this, but he's the whole reason why I'm here right now. He's part of the reason on why I do YouTube. So a long time ago, me and Olivia were sitting on my bed, and I was 16, and it was after the whole breakup thing. And she was like, Karlee, have you ever, she showed me this video, and it was a video of Nick Bean saying like, where's my berries or something. And it was a video of Nick Bean on Facebook, and she was like, I love this guy, like I think he's so cute. Like, she was like going crazy. Sorry Olivia, I'm exposing you, sorry. And she's like, look at this guy, like he's so funny, I love him. And I'm like, oh, like that's cool, I never heard of him, like where is he from? And she's like, he's from this app called YouNow. And I'm like, what is YouNow? So she showed me what the app YouNow was, and if you guys don't know what YouNow is, it's a streaming app. It's basically like Instagram Live, but it's just, my mom's calling me. It's just a app for live, so like you can only go live on it. And it was really big when I was 16, so I was like, oh, I should try it. So I was lonely and I wanted attention, and I'm gonna be honest, it gave me that. I went live, and people started watching me and following me, and they just started, the views and the likes and the followers just started flowing in, and it was crazy. Like it was crazy. And ever since I was a kid, I've been doing YouTube videos. I've always been in front of the camera, so it's like, it was kind of like a natural thing for me to just be on camera. And I tried YouTube before I did YouNow, and it just never worked out. So yeah, it was really natural for me to be on YouNow and just go live. So I ended up getting 100,000 followers on there. I ended up getting partnered, and I ended up making a living off of, and I was only 16, and it was like super crazy. By the time I got partnered, I was around 17 years old, and it was just crazy. While I was 17 years old, I was also in high school, so don't forget that. I was in high school, and I was getting bullied super badly. So I started getting followers on my Instagram, and I started to get followers on Snapchat, and I would start to be like, I would start to like talk to my fans and my supporters, and people at school saw that, and they saw that I was, I don't know, they wanted to make fun of me. They said, they would like mock me in the hallways, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, Karlee, I want your autograph, Karlee this, Karlee that. And I was just getting bullied at school to the point where I had nobody in my city other than my best friend Olivia, and then my best friend Caitlin. I had nobody else. I had my family, and that was it, because everyone in my city, I was the target. I was vulnerable at that point, and they knew that they could attack me because I was putting my whole life out on the internet and no one else was. And so they didn't like me, I guess. So I became homeschooled, and I graduated online. Well, during this whole time of me doing YouNow and becoming popular on social media, I lost my relationship with God. I would skip out on youth group because I wanted to go live on YouNow. I would skip out on Sunday morning church because I was up all night streaming live on YouNow, getting followers, getting likes, getting money. And I was starting to kind of drift away from God in church and youth group and start to lean towards YouNow and everything else. Now let's just analyze that for a second. Let's just analyze that whole situation for a second. If my best friend Olivia did not come over that night and Nick never posted that video, if one little tiny thing would have changed, if she wasn't on Facebook at that very moment to show me a video of Nick Bean, or if Nick Bean never posted that video, or if she couldn't come over that night because she fell asleep or she had a headache, I would have never found out what YouNow was, and I would never be here right now. So let's just analyze that. That doesn't happen for no reason. It doesn't randomly happen that I was blessed with all that while I was going to church. It just doesn't happen that way, and I'm telling you guys, that's nothing but a miracle, and that's nothing but God's way of doing things. He knows exactly what the plan is, and he'll put little things together and make that happen. So that's just one thing that is just crazy to me, is that you just look at it and it's just like, if one little thing would have changed, I wouldn't be where I am. So it's super crazy. So when I was 18, I finished school online, and I got my diploma, and I never went to graduation, never went to prom, because I became homeschooled and nobody liked me at school or in my city. So I was definitely the target, and I still am the target of all of my city. I moved out of my mom's house, and I lived with my dad. And when I moved in with my dad, I kind of got back into church again. I was going to Playlist Live DC because at this point I started YouTube, and I had around 70,000 subscribers when I went to Playlist Live DC. I was 18. Actually, I was 17. I don't know why I said I was 18. So I was 17, and I went to Playlist Live DC, and I'm gonna explain this to you. So the reason why I was going to Playlist Live DC is, one, because I was now a YouTuber, I guess. I was really small, but I really wanted to go. It was my dream to go, so I went to Playlist Live DC on YouNow. So this is another crazy thing. My best friend Chloe, I met on YouNow. She was in my broadcast, and I was like, I'm gonna FaceTime 4 people. So I picked 4 people to FaceTime, and I FaceTimed them all, and we like had a great time on FaceTime. And then I remember I really wanted to continue to talk to Chloe because she was really cool, she was really awesome, and we continued to talk, which is also crazy because if I wasn't live at that moment and Chloe wasn't on her phone at that moment, we would have never met, which is also crazy. And if I would have picked anyone else, I could have picked one other person instead of Chloe, I would have never met Chloe. So like the fact that all those things aligned too were just crazy. It's just crazy. Like, what's the odds of me meeting that one person and then becoming my best friend? You know, it just doesn't make sense. So when I was on YouNow, I met her, and we became best friends. At Playlist Live DC, I wanted to go because that's where I was going to meet Chloe again. So she went to Playlist Live Orlando, which I also went to, and that was super fun. And we became best friends, like best friends, which is so weird. We met off of YouNow, right? Crazy. We met on YouNow, and now she's my best friend. She's actually here right now. On my way to Playlist Live DC, I was pulled into the border. I missed my flight, and everything around me was telling me not. Everything around me was trying to stop me from going to Playlist Live DC. I was pulled into the border. I missed my flight. I had to buy a new ticket. They held me at the border for like hours. And by the time I got to Playlist Live DC, it was like half the day was already gone. But I still went, and that's where I actually met Connor. And everything around me was kind of, they were putting, like, there were so many things that to stop me from meeting Connor. It was so weird. Connor and me actually talked a long time ago on Twitter, and then when we were at the same event, we're like, oh, let's meet up and let's talk. So I went to go give him a hug, and a security guard, right as we were like going in for the hug, a security guard barges in between us and cuts us off. And I was like, okay. So I couldn't hug him because he was going into a party that I wasn't allowed in. So I'm like, whatever. So I go back upstairs, whatever, and then he's like, I was like, hey, want to hang out? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, this is where I'm at. Well, I had to go on an elevator to get to where I was going to meet him at. So I went in the elevator, and guess what? The elevator becomes broken and stuck. Me and my friends are stuck in the elevator. There's another obstacle that I couldn't get to Connor. And Connor ended up waiting outside of the elevator for me, and we finally met. So after all these obstacles of me getting pulled into the border, missing my flight, getting stopped by a security guard, and then getting locked in an elevator, and then finally meeting him, it was like one after the other of like trying not to make us meet. But we ended up meeting with each other, and we instantly clicked, whatever. Started YouTube together, and when we started YouTube, it definitely took off. He ended up moving in with me and whatever. At that time, I definitely also forgot about God. Starting a channel and getting 2 million on our channel, and we were getting blessed with all of these amazing things, money, fame, everything I could imagine. I had the perfect boyfriend, I had the perfect job, I had all the money I could possibly have for 18 years old, and I was just living my best life. Well, mind you, this whole time, I didn't go to church. I didn't keep my relationship with God. I was no longer praying. I was no longer following the Bible. I was sinning. I was doing things that I knew I shouldn't be doing, because although I was only in church for about 1.5 years before all this started happening, I knew enough. I knew what was wrong and what was right, and I knew how to keep my relationship with God, but I wasn't doing it, and I wasn't practicing all of those things, and I kind of forgot all about him. And I was worshiping things like money and fame and followers and sex and alcohol and relationships and boys. Like, I was obsessed with Connor and money and views and likes. That consumed me, and God was not on my mind, and I totally lost my relationship with him. And it was fine in the moment. I was like, well, I'm getting all these things, like, who cares? Like, I'm getting all these things, and I was getting consumed with all of these things that was making me happy at the moment. And well, about last year, me and Connor's relationship kind of got downhill, and we weren't getting along, and all these things happened and whatever. And I remember I was planning on like leaving him, but I was really, really scared, because I'm like, I remember telling all my friends, I was like, well, if I leave him, what about our channel? What about everything I just worked for? What about getting half the money? I was so obsessed and so consumed with money and followers. I was like, I can't let go 2 million followers. We could have 3 million. We could have 5 million in a couple years. Why would I break up with him if I could get double the money, double the followers, and double everything if I stayed with him? Who cares if I'm unhappy? Who cares if I don't want to be with him? Obviously, I'm supposed to be with him because I'm getting blessed with money and followers. So that was my mindset. I was like, if God didn't want me to be with him, then he wouldn't be blessing me with money and followers. So that was my mindset, which now I know is completely wrong. That was my mindset, and I could never leave him. I just stayed, and I think we both did. I think we both just stayed when we knew we weren't supposed to, and I wasn't happy, and my energy was off, and I just didn't. I was just like, whatever. I'll do it for the money and I'll do it for the fame, which is so disgusting and so gross and so not me that it's honestly disgusting. And I'm so sorry that I lied to you guys like that, and I'm so sorry that I put on this front that I was happy when I wasn't, and I'm sorry for that, but that was my mindset. And so I was like, I'm not gonna leave him. And eventually I got so miserable in my life. I was no longer grateful for, I started to get angry. I started to get, instead of being grateful for the things I had, I started to become almost bitter. I started to be like, well, I'm only getting, hey Connor, we only got 200,000 on this video, and I'd start to beat myself up for it. I'd be like, oh, we only got a 200,000. But a year ago, or even 3 years ago, I would have been like, whoa, 200,000 views, and I would have been thankful for it. I would have been amazed for it, and I would have been so happy. My energy would have been so good. But I started to get bitter, and I started to get mad, and I was like, we only have 200,000. We only made $10,000 this month instead of this much money, you know? Or companies would reach out to me and I'd be like, well, I'm not getting, that's not enough money, I deserve more. And I started to become bitter in things that used to be so amazing for me, and I started to just be so bitter in everything I do. And I think that you guys could tell, and I think that that was very evident, and I think that you guys felt my energy on my channel, on this channel especially. I never am fake on this channel. On me and Connor's channel, I feel like we definitely did fake a couple happy videos when we weren't happy. I know for a fact we did, because we would argue and then film and then put down the camera and continue to argue, and it was not real, it was not genuine. We were not being genuine, and sometimes we were, and sometimes we were very happy, but there were a lot of times where we would literally be arguing unless the camera was on, and it was miserable. And I think you guys could feel that vibe. You guys could definitely feel the vibe. And I started to drink a lot with my friends. I became legal last year, 2 years. I became legal when I was 19, and I started to drink, and I started to drink almost every day with my friends. I'd go out downtown, I would be drunk. If I wasn't drunk, I was filming. If I wasn't filming, I was arguing with Connor. If I wasn't arguing with Connor, I was sleeping. It was drinking, filming, arguing, sleeping. Drinking, arguing, filming, sleeping. I was not happy. I was absolutely miserable. So I remember one night when I was really, really fed up, and I was like, I don't know if I could do this anymore. I don't know if it's worth the fame and the money. I don't know if this is worth being with him. And as you guys know, I was super scared of being alone, so that was another reason why I didn't want to leave him, is because I was super scared of being alone. Well, I remember, this is when it gets really crazy, and how I know that God is real, because this just doesn't make sense. So I remember sitting in my bed, and I remember closing my eyes, and I was like, Lord, I have not talked to you in 1.5 years. I have not went to church. I have been sinning, and I have been living in a way that was not like you, and I'm sorry, but I need you to answer my prayer. And I was like, I don't know if you're gonna listen, because I am absolutely a disaster right now, and I have not been faithful to you, but I need you to listen. And I closed my eyes and I prayed, even though I thought that he would not care or answer because of how I was acting. Now I know that he's always listening. I closed my eyes and I said, I need you to give me a sign that I don't need Connor, and I don't need to be in this relationship. I need you to give me the strength, and I need you to give me a sign. And I prayed and I prayed, and I remember I went to sleep, and I did a video the next morning. It was a get ready with me, and I did a get ready with me, and I uploaded it a couple days later. And I remember in 48 hours my video got 1 million views on my channel, 1 million views, and my views were averaging around 100K. So for me to have 1 million views in 48 hours on a video that I totally did not think, it was literally just me putting on my makeup. For me to get 1 million views on a video that was so normal and so just like random was nothing but God, because the video was just normal. It was just me talking. And at the time, 1 million views, well, right now even 1 million views is a lot for me. So it was just like crazy, and I was like, okay, that's a sign. I was like, that's a sign that I could do this by myself. I could do my own channel and I don't need him. Well, because I wasn't walking with God, and because I was so brainwashed, I didn't want to believe that that was a sign. I was still doubting his ways. I was still being like, I don't know if this is a sign. And so I remember doubting it, and I was like, no. And I kind of ignored it, which I shouldn't have done, but I kind of ignored it, and I was like, no. It's like, maybe that's just a coincidence. It's not a sign, it's just a coincidence. So I forgot about it. A couple months go by, and my videos are still doing really well, and I ended up hitting 1 million subscribers, and I was like, okay, this has to be a sign. Okay, I just hit 1 million subscribers on my own. This has to be a sign. Still wasn't doubting it, still was in denial, and was like, no, this wasn't me. I started to think, no, this was my plan. I did this. I worked my butt off to get this 1 million. This isn't God. This isn't God blessing me with anything. This isn't a sign. How is it a sign? I did all this work. I made the videos. I did this. I did that. I made that thumbnail. I made that title. So it's me. It's not God. God doesn't know anything about YouTube. But you have to remember that God literally created everything. You think that I literally thought that I knew YouTube better than God did. I literally thought that. Just let's think about that. And I'm over here saying, no, it was me. I did it. I am the one who did everything. Don't get me wrong, there's free will, but the way that things happen, that was nothing but God. I'm blessed. I'm absolutely blessed. But for some reason I was still doubting it. And then I remember, this was about, I want to say this was in like November. This was like honestly my breaking point. I remember me and Connor woke up one day, and I have a bunch of emails. I have like 200 emails. I'm like, what the heck? And I open it, and every single one of our videos on me and Connor's channel was copyrighted. And I'm like, what the heck? We've had this intro for 1.5 years, for 2 years almost. We've had this intro for 1.5 years. Why are we just now getting copyrighted? If you guys don't know what that means, it basically means we used a song we weren't supposed to. The person decided to claim that song, and they're now making all of the money off of our videos, and we are not making any money. So we went from making thousands of dollars a month to making absolutely nothing. And at that point, I didn't understand why it was happening, and I was mad, and I was like, what the heck? But I was like, we're not making money. So that kind of like helped my decision making. I was like, okay, well, I hit 1 million on my channel. I am no longer making money with you. I'm unhappy. So I started to we kind of started to lean towards breaking up, and I remember hinting it at him, and we would talk about it, but we still never made it official. We'd always come back to each other. I remember I woke up one day and I was like, I'm gonna renovate. I was so miserable in my head. I was like, maybe if I was trying to find other ways. I was like, maybe if I change my surroundings, I'll be happier and motivated. So I was like, I'm gonna renovate. I literally just woke up and I was like, I'm gonna renovate the apartment. Connor's like, are you crazy? Everyone around me was like, are you crazy? And it was right near Christmas too, and everyone's like, Karlee, like, are you crazy? This is right near Christmas. Like, you're gonna be so stressed out renovating. I put in thousands of dollars into this apartment, and people were literally calling me crazy, and they're like, well, why are you doing this? And I was like, I don't know, but something's telling me to just renovate this apartment. So I remember listening to that gut feeling, and I remember being like, okay, I'm gonna renovate this apartment. And I couldn't understand why I wanted to do it, but I wanted to do it so bad. And I did it. I started doing it, and I remember I had to get everything out of here and put it into a storage unit so that I could get new furniture and I could get paint, and I needed everything out. So I got a storage unit, and I put all of me and Connor's stuff in there. And I remember renovating, and I remember me and him having our last conversation before we broke up, and I remember like I was crying or whatever, and I remember he said something, and I stormed out and I went downstairs and I got out my phone and I did that video called I'm Done, where I was crying and I was like, me and Connor are done. I'm done feeling this way. I'm done. And And I remember making that video, and I remember I was like about to press upload, and I remember I stopped. I was like, I'm not uploading this, because if I upload this and I go back to him, I'm gonna look stupid. I can't upload this unless I know I'm sure. And I remember I got in my car and I drove to my mom's house, and I was praying and crying, and I was like, should I upload this? Is this real? Should I be done? Like, I know, like, I was like, Jesus, I know you've given me all these signs, but for some reason I'm still doubting you, and I don't know why. And I was like, he's not gonna answer me. And like, so I drove to my mom's house, and I remember right when I got to my mom's house and I got connected with Wi-Fi, the video was uploading. And I was like, what the heck? It's uploading. Are you kidding me? And I remember the video got out, and I was like, what the heck? So the reason I recorded it in my car, and the reason why I didn't upload in my car is because I wasn't connected to Wi-Fi. Well, the moment I walked into my mom's house, it instantly started uploading, and it uploaded. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I can't go back now. I look stupid. I uploaded the video. Even if I delete it, people would have saw it. Someone probably screen recorded it. So I was like, you know what? I guess if it was meant to be uploaded, it's going to be uploaded. So it uploaded. And I remember literally just being like, oh my gosh, this is legit. And I remember I came back to my apartment, and I finished renovating, and I was going through the breakup, and everything was crazy. And when I was done renovating my apartment and me and Connor's breakup was official or whatever, I remember laying on my bed and being like, this was easier than I thought. And I remember being in my mom's room and being like, everything. And I remember at that moment when I was in my mom's room, I remember being in my sister's room right after uploading that I'm done video while Connor was here. And I remember thinking about everything, and I was like, maybe I was supposed to renovate. Maybe I was supposed to renovate. Maybe that God gave me that instinct. Hey, Karlee, like, you need to start renovating your life right now. Like, this is a metaphor. You need to start flipping things, because this is not how it's supposed to be. And I remember, like, I couldn't understand why I wanted to renovate. I just couldn't get that feeling, and I couldn't understand, and I couldn't explain it, but I knew deep down that I was supposed to renovate my apartment. And if it wasn't for me renovating my apartment, Connor's stuff wouldn't be in the storage unit. And I would have had to come home, and I would have had to help him pack, or I would have had to help him, or he would have had to stay here longer. And that's what always brought me back. Every single time we broke up, whenever I saw him, I would take him back, or whenever I saw him cry, or whenever I cried, we would always go back to each other. And I think that the storage unit really helped, because I didn't have to see him, and we didn't have to go and pack everything, because everything was already packed. Everything was set up for me to leave. And not only that, but I remember my friend Chloe, my best friend Chloe, who I met on You Now, moved to Rochester Hills, which, if you guys don't know, that's literally like an hour drive from me. She moved so close to me, and she's originally from Atlanta. So for her to be offered to move to Rochester, which she was offered so random, and she was like, okay, and she's like, I'll just take it. The fact that I knew that my best friend was an hour away from me and could come and see me at any time, and I could have that support, really helped. And everything was set up. I got 1 million on my channel. He answered my prayers. God literally wiped everything out of my life. Everything that me and Connor had going for us, he literally took away to show me, and maybe show Connor, that we were not meant to be with each other. He literally drained our bank accounts. He drained everything that we had that was going for us away. And I had that storage unit at that perfect timing. I had my friend move, perfect timing. We got copyrighted, perfect timing. Everything that happened was such perfect timing. And I'm not even explaining this. I'm probably missing so many other things, but the way that everything played out at the time, it made no sense, and I was so angry. And I realized at that moment, I was like, I can do this. I can break up with him. I'm fine. I got this. I was like, I'm fine. My friend's here. I'm renovating my apartment. I won't have to come back and look at our memories. I won't have to come back and look at our memories, because it's going to look totally different in here. It's going to be renovated. I don't have to see him. I don't have to pack his things. I don't have to move his things. His things are already there. He can come and pick them up whenever he wants. put it out there. I put the video out so that it held me accountable for what I was saying, so that I couldn't go back and look stupid. And so, not only that, but I forgot to mention, guys, I forgot to mention that when I was, I totally forgot to mention this. Right before me and Connor's videos got copyrighted, I remember I got blessed with this amazing deal with this company, this clothing company, and basically it was the income that I was making off me and Connor's channel, if not more. So before Jesus took away that income, he blessed me with something even better. And I couldn't understand why we got copyrighted, but I literally was blessed with a huge deal that literally took me and Connor's income and doubled it almost. And then I was blessed with it, which is like crazy, because I'm like, he answered all of my prayers. Everything I was worried about ended up falling into place. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, but that is, I don't care what anyone says, that is nothing but God, because that doesn't make sense. None of these things, the way that things were aligned, the way that things were in order, the way that everything worked just doesn't make sense for it to just be a coincidence. That's not a coincidence, guys. That's not a coincidence. That is God, and he knew what he was doing, and he put those things in my life. Whether it made me feel awful or not, he put those things in my life because they were meant to happen, and they perfectly aligned. And at the time, I was so lost and confused. I was like, my apartment's upside down, I'm going through a breakup publicly, our videos just got copyrighted, and everything just didn't make sense. But then I remember I was like, this breakup is actually easier than I thought it would be. So I remember after all that, I went to LA, I did a trip, and I remember that's when my drinking really started. So I went to LA, and I was like, I'm gonna go to LA, and I'm gonna get my mind off things, and I'm gonna collab, and I'm gonna hang out with friends. And I remember when I went there, I was drinking every single day. I drank from the day I landed to I remember I missed my flight home, and I had to get the person I was with to help me reschedule it because I couldn't make my flight home because I was so hungover, and I was drunk from the beginning to the end of my night. And I remember always being on Snap, and I remember just saying, hey guys, I'm living my best life, like I looked so happy, and I looked so good, and I looked so free. And all my videos, people were like, Karlee, you look so happy. But yes, I was happy because I was single, and I had a weight lifted off of me. But I still wasn't happy up here, and I was still really lost and confused, and I was still angry that everything was happening, and I was angry that me and Connor didn't work out, and that I was angry that everything happened. And I was like, I just wasted 2 years of my life. I just built up this career on me and Connor's channel for $2 million for it to be gone, and I worked all this, and now I'm not making money off of it. And I was just so angry that I was drinking, and I couldn't understand anything, so I would just drink. And doing a breakup in front of 2 million people is absolutely hard. It's hearing what everyone has to say and hearing us argue, and I was just miserable. You guys could tell by my tweets. I was being disgusting online. I made videos that were gross and that were embarrassing. Now that I look back, it was literally only like a month ago, not even. And they're disgusting. They're absolutely disgusting. And I was drunk, and I remember on the way home to Canada, I was crying, and I was like, I love LA. This is so fun. And I remember I texted my friend Chloe, and I called her, and I was crying, and I was like, Chloe, like, I love LA. Like, I don't want to go home. Like, I feel myself here. And she's like, Karlee, she's like, you are not yourself there. And that is my best friend, and she knew. She's like, Karlee, you're not yourself. And I was like, yeah, I am myself. I feel myself. I feel good. She's like, Karlee, you're not yourself. And I remember getting angry, and I was like, yes, I am. Like, how are you going to tell me I'm not myself when I'm me? And I remember I came home, and I was like, I love LA. I'm going back. So I remember I booked a flight to go back. And I was supposed to leave, I think on the 29th, so I could be there for New Year's Eve. I remember on the 29th, was it the 20th? Oh yeah, okay, so I booked a flight to go on the 30th, so I'd be there for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Well, I remember I booked my flight, and I'm packing all my stuff to go, and I remember my mom coming over to pick up my sister, because my sister slept over, and she goes, Karlee, She's like, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I don't want you to go to LA. And I'm like, why, Mom? Like, I was already in LA. I travel all the time. Why are you being like this? Because I wanted to go so bad and it made me so happy. And I started to get mad at her. I was like, why are you coming in my house to tell me that you don't want me to go to LA? And I was angry and I was like, Mom, like, what the heck is your problem? Like, why are you telling me that you don't want me to go to LA? And she's crying, and I couldn't understand why my mom was crying. I was like, Mom, I travel all the time. And she's like, I don't know why I'm crying, and I don't know why I don't want you to go, but I just don't want you to go. And I'm like, why, Mom? Why? And I was angry, and I was like, tell me why. And she's like, I don't know why, but I don't want you to go. And she's like, I was praying at church all morning, and I just don't want you to go. And I was like, Mom, you just don't want me to go because I'm your daughter and you're scared of me going to LA. And I couldn't understand why she didn't want me to go. So I didn't listen to her. She left. I remember I started packing my stuff, and I remember right before I was literally in the car. And I remember on the way to the airport, me and Chloe, and I remember I look at Chloe and I'm like, Chloe, I'm not going. She's like, what? Are you crazy? I'm like, I'm not going. I was like, turn the car around, we're not going. She's like, Karlee, are you insane? I'm like, we're not going. She's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. And so I remember I texted Mom, I was like, I'm not going. She's like, I'm sorry, like, I'm so sorry. I was like, it wasn't you. Because it wasn't her, it was something inside, and I didn't know why I wasn't supposed to go, but something in me was like, you're not going. And I just listened, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go. Like, it was so weird because it was like a split, like it was literally seconds. It was 1 second. Like, I was so excited to go, packed my stuff, ready to go in the car, like, I'm going. And within 1 second, guys, when I tell you literally a split second, like I all of a sudden switched up, it was literally like my whole body was like, you're not going, Karlee. You're not going. And I was like, I don't know what's telling me not to go, but I'm not going. And so I didn't go. And I turned around and I came home, and I remember my pastor, also my uncle, called me and he's like, I have this guy that I want you to meet. He's singing at the church tonight and I want you to meet him. And I was like, and mind you, my pastor actually called me like while I was with Connor and was like, I want you to come to church and meet this guy. And I was like, well, okay. I was like, okay, I'll go. But I never went because I was dating Connor, and I was like, I don't want to go and like meet this guy if I have a boyfriend. So I didn't go at the time, which now makes so much sense on why I didn't go at the time, because it wouldn't have played out the way it played out. But I was like, okay, I'll go, and I never went. Well, this time I was like, okay, I'm single, I'm home, why not? So he's like, I want you to go to your mom's at 6:30, and I'm like, that's weird because I'm already supposed to go there at 6 for my mom's dinner. My mom invited me there for dinner. I'll already be there. And he's like, oh, okay. So I end up going and I meet this amazing guy, which I feel like some of you guys might know who, I mean, he knows who he is if he's watching this. And I meet this amazing guy, and when I tell you, like, I literally fell in love with him, I actually did. Like, I know I sound crazy, but I literally fell in love with him. And I remember he invited me to church. He kind of like said it a little bit, and I was like, oh, ha, yeah, like, yeah, I'll go. But I didn't really think much of it. And I remember he left because he came and hung out with me and my friends. He left, and this is the guy that my pastor told me to meet, by the way. And I remember texting him, and I was like, something's telling me to go to church with him, so I'll just go. And I remember I was like, can I go to church with you tomorrow? And he's like, yeah. And it was New Year's Eve. And if you guys know me, Karlee, like, I was a huge drinker at the time. I was drinking every day. I was doing things I wasn't supposed to. And so he was like, oh, like, yeah, come to church. So I went to church on New Year's Eve. I didn't party. I didn't go out with friends. I didn't drink. I went to church. And I went to church with him and his dad, and it was really awesome, and he was really talented and really good, and so was his dad. It's amazing. And so we went to church, and since that moment, like, me and him were just like, I mean, I really liked him, like, a lot. Like, I literally was in love with him. And I sound so crazy. I literally sound insane, but like, when I tell you, like, I literally love this kid, like, I really do. And so I met him, and he's very into church, and he's very Christian, and he's a very, very good man. And right after that, I was like, I miss church. That was the first time I went to church since I was with Connor, and I was like, I really, really miss church. And I remember when I went with him on New Year's Eve, I was like, I miss this so much. After, like, it was just, me and my mom had this plan to go to Florida and get the surgery like a long time ago, and our original date was supposed to be like February something, and I was like, no, like, it can't be in February, can we do it in January? So I ended up getting my surgery in January, and the surgery ended up being like an hour away from where the guy that I met was staying. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so weird that I had this plan to be there at the same time you were going before I even met you. Like, it was so weird. It was so weird. And it's weird that like my mom didn't want me to go, and like, so this is the whole thing. This is what I have, at the end of the day, this is what I have to say. If I didn't listen to my gut when I said I didn't want to go to LA, and I went to LA, I wouldn't have met the guy that literally brought Jesus back in my life. Like, I had a relationship with God, but he literally reminded me of it, and he made me feel that feeling again of church and listening to worship music and just going back into church. And he kind of like opened my eyes, and whether or not we were meant to be together, I don't know. God only knows. But he might have just came into my life, even though I literally am in love with this kid. He might only be in my life just to put me back on track. He might have only came in my life at that moment to put me back on track and to remind me and to bring me to church and to remind me like of how amazing God is. And that might be the only reason, and I don't know what the reason is. But no matter what the reason is, if I'm supposed to be with him or if I'm not, or if he was just brought in my life just to put me back on track, at the end of the day, if one thing out of anything I just said changed, if I didn't get that one feeling and listen to it, and I didn't listen to that feeling, that gut feeling that I had, that if I didn't listen, I'm not even gonna call it a gut feeling. If I didn't listen to what the Holy Spirit was telling me to do, I would have went to LA. I would have never met him. I would have never went to church on New Year's Eve, and who knows what I would be doing. I would probably still be partying, and I'd still be lost, and I'd still be a disaster. But I remember waking up one day and I was like, I do not like this. I was like, I don't like drinking. I was like, I don't like what is happening in my life. And it's crazy. And I decided I wanted to be a better person. And I am 20, and I just sat down and I just thought about all these things and the way things lined up. And honestly, guys, if one thing would have changed, if for some reason I didn't meet Connor, or for some reason I didn't want to renovate, or for some reason I went to LA when I wasn't supposed to, everything would have been different. Who knows what would happen. If I didn't hang out with Olivia that one time, and I didn't go on the app YouNow that very second, or if Nick Bean didn't post his video and my friend didn't see it, what would it, like, who knows what would have happened? You know, if my boyfriend at the time didn't break up with me and I continued to date him, what would happen? Where would I be? And everything worked out. All those things worked out, and they perfectly aligned. And it's just, and if I would have just, if one little tiny detail would have changed, my life would be different. And I've realized that God has blessed me with this influence that I have on all of you. And I feel like he blessed me with this so that I could share all of this with you guys. And I want to be someone who helps you guys out and shows that you can be raised and not believe in God. You can be raised as a non-Christian. You can be raised as an atheist and change. You can go look at my old videos. Cursing, drinking, sex, all those things I'm talking about in all those videos. You can be that and still change. And he will still show you signs that he's here, even though you think he's not, he's there. Because for that whole year when I was with Connor and when I prayed and I thought he wasn't gonna listen because I wasn't going to church and I wasn't praying to him and I wasn't talking to him and I didn't follow his word, I literally thought he wasn't going to answer me, but he still did, because that's how amazing he is. And I just need you guys to really, really think about it. If he did all of that for me while I was sinning and I was not following what he wanted me to do, imagine what he could do when I follow his word and I actually use my platform for good. I can't even imagine what he's going to do. I really wanted to talk to you guys about that. So just imagine what he could do. That's my story, and I honestly, all those little details really add up, and they really make sense. And even at the time, so basically this is the conclusion. That's the reason why I'm changing. I'm not changing, I guess. I don't want to say I'm changing, but this is the reason why I'm kind of becoming a better me, and I'm going to just live by the Bible and live by God and just let him take control and trust him. Because even when I was doubting him and stuff, he still showed through, and he still proved me wrong. And I feel like that's something that is so amazing and so crazy. I wish I had somebody like me to talk to me, look at me when I did Omegle videos or when I did something that was not right. And if you're living a life like that right now, if you're drinking, you're having sex, you're partying, you're doing drugs, you're doing whatever, he will, if you give your life to him, he'll still bless you, and you still have an opportunity. He loves you regardless, and I need you guys to know that. And I want you guys to take it from me, someone who's been there, someone who's 20 years old. I'm living in a society that I know is super hard and super pressured, and it's scary. God and religion is a taboo subject, and Christianity isn't something that's shared much on social media. It is, but a majority of it is not. And I really want you guys to think about it. And I'm not saying that you have to switch your whole lifestyle, but maybe go to church and try it out and let me know how you guys feel, or watch Stephen Furtick and let me know what you guys think. He's literally been my lifesaver this whole time. I've been like watching him like legit non-stop. It's really bad. But I don't know, I feel like I could just talk and talk forever and just preach forever, but I'm not going to. The last thing I'm gonna say is all of us right now are I was listening when I was the way I was like a month ago even. I'm already a different person than I was a month ago. I can't even imagine where I'm gonna be in a year mentally and religion, like in I can't even imagine how I'm gonna think in a year if I'm already, my thoughts and my views on things have already shifted so much in just this past like 2 weeks that I don't know. I can't imagine where I'm gonna be in a year or 10 years from now. But if I already feel this happy from just like 2 weeks, I don't even know. I really don't even know. But I want you guys to really, we're trying to conform to a way. I was listening to everyone around me. One thing that was a mistake, and I want you guys to take this with you when this video ends, I really want you guys to think about this. We're all listening to each other. We're listening to other teens. We're listening to movies. We're listening to TV shows. We're listening to songs where drinking is normal. When you watch a TV show or a movie and someone has a stressful day, they come home and they drink some wine, and they go out, or when someone has a breakup, they're like, let's go out and get drunk. We've been trained to think this way from movies, and trained to think this way from society, and trained to think this way that when we have a problem, we go to alcohol, or we pop a bottle of wine open, or champagne, or something like that. And we're taking advice and we're taking life lessons from people who haven't even experienced life. I'm taking advice from 20-year-olds who don't even know more than I do. Instead of taking advice from someone who's your age, take advice from the one thing that was given to us. It's literally, the Bible is a book of life. Every situation you go through, you can literally open up and you can find something in the Bible that will help you get through with what you're going through. And instead of that, we're taking advice from people who don't have life figured out and who are miserable themselves. We're taking advice from people, and we're listening to people who aren't even happy themselves, or haven't even experienced life themselves, or have never even opened a Bible in their life. And I was one of those people. I was for 16 years of my life. I never even opened a Bible. There's so many videos I could do on this subject right now, but I just wanted to share this story. and hopefully show you guys that at the end of the day, things are not coincidence. Those were not coincidences. Right now, if you're going through something and you don't quite understand it, you're not the only one who's going through something that we don't understand. We all don't understand. I didn't understand. I am just now understanding things that happened 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I'm just now understanding that everything was aligned perfectly for me to get to where I want to be. And yeah, there were some crazy rides and there's some crazy paths that God took me on that I couldn't understand why I was going on those paths, but now I completely get it. And I just want to use this platform in a good way, and I just want to, I'll still make you guys laugh, I'll still do my regular videos and be funny and do funny videos, but I also want to be someone who hopefully can help you guys out in this crazy world, because I don't know any other YouTuber that was crazy like me or that talks about God or talks about actually wanting to change. And I do, and I want to change, and I want my mental health to be back. I want my relationship with God to be back, and I want to be a better person all around, and I want to be someone that can help you. And I really, really hope that you guys are listening to me, and I hope you guys don't think I'm lying. You guys have seen me be crazy, drinks. You guys have seen me do everything. Just look at my past videos from even a month ago, and you guys will see that I was just like you, and I'm still just like you. I'm just starting out, and I'll still mess up. I'll still slip up sometimes, and temptation might take over sometimes, but I have to remember, and I have to just try my hardest to be the best person I can be. And I want you guys to think that way. And you're not crazy, and you're not crazy for believing in God. You shouldn't be embarrassed. You shouldn't feel bad for not wanting to drink. You shouldn't feel bad for wanting to live a good life. And I think that's what society really does. They make you feel bad if you're not cool, or they make you feel bad. But these people that are setting these trends and setting these standards don't even have standards themselves, and they don't really know what's happening, and they are honestly miserable inside. And when I tell you that I was miserable inside when I was doing all those things, I need you guys to listen to me and actually believe it. I was miserable doing those things, and those things are not cool, and those things are not, they're fun in the moment, but they're not fun when you wake up. They're not fun after. They're not fun when you're 40. They're not fun when you're 20. They're not fun when you're 16. They're not fun. And I think this whole YouTube and social media world and this generation thinks that it's fun to do those things. And I'm telling you guys from experience, I'm not just saying it. Like, guys, listen, I'm not just someone who's just saying it and have never experienced it. I was literally a different person a month ago. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Another thing that I forgot to mention that is totally relatable to this is if I would have broke up with Connor, I would have never met Cainbo, who is my manager and does all my singing and my merch and everything, and I'm so grateful for him. He's like my big brother. He actually made this merch for me, because I always say love that for me. This merch is Champion merch, and it's love that for me in pink. I also have a hoodie version. I have t-shirts, and I have a white version, so the white with pink and black with pink, and then a t-shirt and a hoodie that also is white and pink and black and pink. And then on the back it says Karlee Steele 514, and it is Champion, so you know the quality is good. And 10% of all of the proceeds that we get from, so 10% of all of the profits that we make off of this merch will go to women in domestic violence. So we will be donating 10% of that, and this will come out on Valentine's Day, so that we love that for me. Like, I want to make this a positive message. Girls, guys, whatever, I will come up with more designs, by the way, like cropped hoodies. Everything's Champion, so you know the quality is good. It's going to be coming out on Valentine's Day. It says love that for me. It says Karlee 514. It's super small, but it says Karlee 514 in the back. So if you guys don't know what 514 means, because it says Karlee Steele 514 in the back, 514 is Cainbo's like management company, the company I'm signed to right now for music. He's my manager. And if you guys don't know what 5:14 means, it is Matthew 5:14, which is you are the light of the world. So we often use the word star to describe celebrities or famous people, but being a star has absolutely nothing to do with fame if you really think about it. You don't know the name of every single star in the sky, but it doesn't mean they're not shining. So we're all stars, we're all shining. Before maps and GPSs, we would look at stars to figure out where we're going and like where. I'm reading this, by the way, so if I sound like I'm scripted, it's kind of because I am. I'm reading this part because I don't know why he named it 5:14. I'm actually figuring this out right now because I said, what does 5:14 mean? Like, why is that a thing? So he said that we use stars to find our path. We should strive to be the light in someone's life. It doesn't matter if you're only lighting up your children's life or that you're able to reach millions. The goal is to keep shining and guiding them in the right direction for the best way you can. 5:14 is also Montreal's area code, which is where Cambo's from, my manager, and where I actually record my music. So it kind of just went all together. So yeah, that's what 5:14 means. And love that for me. Champion domestic violence, yeah. It will come out on Valentine's Day because we don't need anyone but Jesus and us, and we love that for us, you know. We love that for me, and we want you guys to be happy and love things for you and be proud for you. And like, I know I say love that for me as a joke, but if you really think about it and you break it down, you want to love things for you. You want to be like, oh, I love that for me. Like, I love that I'm a good person. Like, you know, like, let's make it into a positive thing. And on Valentine's Day, you can get one and you can love that for you because we love that for me. So yeah, I hope you guys will tune in and watch out for that. I'll have a better video describing everything and stuff like that, but this is coming out on Valentine's Day, so if you guys want one, you better be on your phone on Valentine's Day, and you love that for you. Give yourself a Valentine's Day gift. Be your own Valentine and buy yourself one of these where you can love that for yourself. Be proud of yourself, love that for you. Yeah. I love you guys. I hope this video was like kind of informative. It was kind of all over the place, I know, but I just, at the end of the day, I just wanted to share that with you guys so that you guys could understand a little bit more of why I am doing this and why I am who I am right now. And I hope that I can help someone out with this. And yeah. So let's comment down below anything you guys have to say. Let's be a family in the comments and be nice, and let's help each other out and boost each other up. But yeah, I love you guys. God bless you. And yeah, bye guys. Stay confident.